Welcome to Shul.com. We are learning the laws of Shabbat of Rabbi Yonatan Nakson. It's a very simple, easy English book on Hilchot Shabbat. We are up to staying away from home for Shabbat under candle lighting. So let's say you're not home for Shabbat. One who's not home for Shabbat and is staying in a place that he has his own private room must light Shabbat candles where he's staying for Shabbat, even though his wife will be lighting in his home. So this is a case, let's say, of someone traveling on business, where he's away, he's in a hotel, but his wife is at home. So even though his wife is lighting for him, he's still required to light where he is, even if he does not have his own private room and is staying at someone's home who will be lighting candles, in addition to his wife lighting at home, then he has fulfilled his obligation of lighting. However, if there is a time difference between where he is staying and his home, then you should ask to have a portion in the lighting of the host by the oil or by the wax candles instead. Okay, perfect. Yeshiva and seminary students. So let's say boy finished yeshiva high school, he goes to Israel for a year, or he goes to yeshiva, he's traveling abroad, or even if the girl is going to seminary. Yeshiva students are obligated to light Shabbat candles even if they are in a yeshiva in the country of their parents' residence. So let's say the boy is from Brooklyn and he's going to Baltimore, to Ner Yisrael. He's over there in that yeshiva, same time zone. He has a requirement now to light. He's not married, he's still single, not living at home. Preferably, each student in each dorm room should light his own candles. Otherwise, all the students may fulfill their obligation with one set of candles, all of them together. If this is also not possible, one may rely on the candles lit in the yeshiva's dining room, provided that he will have some light in his room, such as an electric light coming from the hallway or a night light. As long as he has a form of a light in his room, then he can rely on the main lighting that would be in the dining room, and it could be just one set of candles for the entire yeshiva. He has a whole note on the bottom here from Chazon Vajan Halacha Biruram and Yalkut Yosef. They add that since many yeshivot do not let the students light candles in the room because of the potential fire hazard, one should rely on lighting an electric light instead, or at least have some light coming into the room from the hallway or the bathroom. In any case, even when lighting in the room or in the dining room, only one person should recite the beracha on behalf of everyone. Chama Ovadia Yosef, as brought in a letter in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Chazon Ovadia on Shabbat, Volume 4, Chapter 4, footnote 29, states that girls in seminary should all light at least one candle, even when lighting in the dining room, and one girl each week should recite the beracha on everyone's behalf. After answering the Amen, they should all light their candles as well. So he's stating for the girls that they should all light one candle. Just one of the girls should be the representative for everybody else that's there to say it as a group. So again, like we said, Sephardic, they don't have multiple times of saying beracha in the same room. One who will be back home late at night. One who will not be home for the night does not have to light Shabbat candles. However, if he might return home while it is still nighttime, then one should light large candles that can last until one will return home. If one is unsure if he will be returning home that night, then one should light the candles before Shabbat without a beracha. If one does not have such large candles or enough oil, then one should turn on an electric light with the intention that it should be for hadlakat nerot Shabbat without a beracha.
I would say that's most of my situation, because I'm eating out a lot,
and
I don't get home.
So
the light's out by the time I get home.
Yeah, but this is a case here when he's bringing down specifically that he knows he's not going to be home. His plan is, I'm not going to be home for tonight.
Right.
Your plan is normally
come home late. He mentions if he comes home.
However,
late,
if he might return home while it is still nighttime, then one should light large candles that can last, or he can put the light in electric light without a beracha. But that's usually the case if he's mostly not going to be home, meaning you know for sure you're not going to be home. But if you know that I am coming home tonight, I'm sleeping here tonight, then you should light normally like you would, or even put extra oil or larger candles.
I need a larger candle,
large or more oil, or you can use those cups with just the oil on the wick and it'll last you a sufficient time for it. Yeah, it's an interesting halachot, especially when you're traveling. But this is specifically when you're not going to be home. I just want to put on the record. When you're light because you are coming home to sleep that night. You might crash at your friend's house, but your plan is I'm coming home tonight. And plus, you are putting also lights around your house as well.
Right.
You do.
The question is, do I say beracha?
On the
if it's not long enough to last. Let's say I don't have oil enough to last, and I'm doing candles, and I know they're going to be out by the time I come home.
So that's a good question. Based on what he's saying here, if you know for sure you're not going to be at home, and you might return, you don't make a beracha. So your plan is, I'm not coming home tonight. Maybe I might stop by, but your plan is, I'm not. No beracha. And then then you could put on light in the hallway or bathroom or closet. In regards to the other case, we can check. We'll find out. Lighting Shabbat candles when in a hotel. When staying at a hotel, there are different places where one can light the Shabbat candles. The best option is to light them on the dining room table in one's suite if he will be eating there. If this is not possible, one should light the candles in the room one is sleeping in and should make sure to benefit from their light. Okay, so if it's not on the dining room table, it should be in the room. The next best option is to light Shabbat candles in the dining hall where one will be eating if it's a different room than where he's staying. However, one must ensure that the candles are in a place where one can benefit from their light. Even in this situation, one should leave a light on in his room to benefit from. So sometimes he might be lighting in the dining room, but it might be at another corner 200 feet away, really far away. So he's no benefit to him. So he should have the light on in his room to benefit. Lighting candles in the hotel lobby or on a table in the dining hall that is situated too far to benefit from is not a valid option. And if one does so, his beracha is in vain, because he's not going to have any benefit. Therefore, the last option is to light electric lights in one's room. If they are incandescent lights, they should be lit with a beracha.
What's incandescent?
Incandescent is the old style lights. So there's a few different levels of them. Here he brings a bunch of halachot, and this is what I told you yesterday in Rabbi Mansur when he had said that if you were staying at your parents' house and you have a separate room, and your mother's already lighting with the beracha, then you wouldn't be lighting again with another beracha in the same room. So you can light and make a beracha in the closet. Now it's important to note that he's talking here in the case that's brought down Rabbi Nachson of incandescent. Incandescent are the old style lights that have like a filament inside where it's almost like a real fire and flame goes in it. The other option of bulbs that exist is the CFL, the compact fluorescent lights, or the actual fluorescent lights. And then there's the third, which is LEDs, which is becoming the most common today. And LEDs, like Rabbi Yitzhak Levi used to always say in Hebrew, you would spell it Lamed Aleph Daled Lo Deoraita. It's old Rabbanan. All LEDs don't have the level of a commandment in the Torah of Lo Tevaru Ish B'chol Mashvotechem. It would be the Rabbanan because of the way it operates technologically. And so here he was saying when you do light it, it would have to be with an incandescent bulb in order to say a beracha. Lighting in the sukkah. One should not light the Shabbat or Yom Tov candles in one's sukkah because of the fire hazard that it poses, unless one lights the candles in a protective box. Rav Musafi speaks about it, that there's multiple times where Sukkot ended up going up in flames and children were killed because of it. Unfortunately, it's happened, so he says stay away from it, even though it is brought down that it's a mitzvah to light in the sukkah because you're going to eat there and sleep there. For safety purposes, it's best not to be done. And part of the reason is that today people are just not so well suited and understand how to deal with fire and flames and things like that as they were back then. Back then, when they did light in their sukkot, that's how they cooked, with flames and with fire, and they were much more suited to know how to handle those situations. Today, people are less inclined, they're not so well suited for it. The candles should be lit in a place in the house that can be seen from the sukkah, so possibly a window, something nearby. If this is not possible, it is permissible to light the candles in the house, even if one cannot see them from the sukkah, provided that one benefits from the candlelight at some point in the night. So maybe in the kitchen you could see the sukkah. You'll benefit because you'll go back and forth, or you might drink something or eat something in there. The time of lighting: one should not light candles before the time of Plag HaMincha. One who lit before Plag HaMincha with the intention of accepting Shabbat should light again after Plag HaMincha. But a new beracha should not be recited upon the lighting the second time. One who wants to light immediately after Plag HaMincha must accept Shabbat upon lighting in order for the lighting to be recognizable that it was done for the honor of Shabbat. The reason for that is that if he lights too early, then it might not look that you're lighting for Shabbat. So therefore, that person's lighting, normally his lighting 18 minutes before Shabbat or the standard time before Shabbat, is not accepting Shabbat. I accept Shabbat when I say Kabbalat Shabbat in Shul. If it's a man, let's say. Here, if in order to light at Plag HaMincha that early, that is your acceptance of the Shabbat with the lighting. If one lights candles within half an hour from Shkia, then one does not need to accept Shabbat upon lighting. Therefore, one who wants to travel by car to a more distant synagogue for the tefillot of Friday night must be careful to light candles at most in half hour before Shkia. So we light 18 minutes before Shkia. This would be another 12 minutes before Shkia. And this is in America. I know in Jerusalem, I think they light 40 minutes before Shkia. Let's see, he has it on the bottom here that he says, regarding the time of Plag HaMincha, Siyabia Omer 1-43, in the new edition in footnote 19, who states that one should be stringent and not recite a beracha on the lighting, even if one is lighting 1 1/4 halachic hours before Tzeta Kochavim, since there is a dispute whether one counts 1 1/4 halachic hours from Tzeta Kochavim or from Shkia. There's an argument in the times. In the morning it's Shkia, Tzet. In the evening there's Alot, Net. Okay, so Halacha Berura on page 233 adds that in a city where most of the city accepts Shabbat 1 1/4 before Shabbat, known as early Shabbat, then a woman who lights at that time does not have to accept the Shabbat immediately upon lighting the candles. However, in Eretz Yisrael, where the custom of most people is to accept Shabbat at the regular time, then she must accept Shabbat upon lighting if she intends to accept Shabbat at the earlier time. Did you get it?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I'll just repeat it. If someone's in the city where most of the city accepts Shabbat 1 1/4 before Shabbat, they call this an early Shabbat. Then a lady who's lighting at that time doesn't have to accept the Shabbat immediately upon lighting, because that's how everyone's doing. Normally, we said if you're lighting early, you have to accept. Here, she's lighting, everyone's accepting Shabbat. She doesn't have to accept. However, in Eretz Yisrael, where the custom of most people is to accept the Shabbat at the regular time, then she must accept the Shabbat upon lighting if she intends to accept the Shabbat at the earlier time. Okay. If a couple needs to drive somewhere before half an hour prior to Shabbat and can only light the Shabbat candles before leaving, since they will not return until later that night, that's why they're lighting at home, because they're going to come back, it is permitted for the women to light the candles and accept the Shabbat, and her husband may drive her and perform the necessary melachot for her to get in and out of the car as well. So she could accept the Shabbat because she's lighting early.
She can't drive.
She can't drive. He'll do all the melachas for her in order to get around. One may not light the Shabbat candles before Plag HaMincha and then recite the beracha upon the lit candles after Plag HaMincha. So she lit early before Plag HaMincha. She can't say the beracha because before Plag HaMincha. Then when Plag HaMincha comes, she wants to say the beracha, she can't. One must leave his home before Plag HaMincha. One who must leave his home before Plag HaMincha and will not return until it is already Shabbat may not light candles before Plag HaMincha, even if one will cover them beforehand and only uncover them on Shabbat. Instead, one should ask a neighbor or relative to light on one's behalf at the proper time. So he's going to be, let's say he's leaving early in the day, 12 or 1 o'clock. Shabbat's at 8 o'clock. He won't be back until after. He shouldn't light at all at home because he won't be able to light with a beracha. He should possibly leave a light on in his house for that purpose, but he should have someone, a relative or neighbor nearby, light on his behalf, maybe the rabbi's wife or something of that nature. It is customary to light the Shabbat candles beginning from 20 minutes before Shkia. This is also the Sephardic custom in Yerushalayim, unlike many Ashkenazim who light the Shabbat candles 40 minutes before Shkia. So that's he has here a bunch of notes from Hazon Avadja, Halichot Olam, or Letzion, and others. One who lives in Yerushalayim and has become accustomed to lighting 40 minutes before Shkia may revert back to the Sephardic custom and light 20 minutes from before Shkia. As here in Galut we do 18 minutes, so in Israel they're 20 and the Ashkenazim 40. Although Hatarat Nedarim would be unnecessary, it is preferable for such a person to perform Hatarat Nedarim on this custom. And if he's doing Hatarat Nedarim on the custom, he would have to actually say why he's doing the Hatara, because normally Hatarat Nedarim doesn't cover any promises or swears or vows that you remember. It's the ones you don't remember. So if you want to specifically do something that you do have in your mind, you have to specifically go to one of the three and admit what it is that you're trying to. You don't have to do to all three, do one to three, as Rabbi Musafi teaches. One should be extra careful to light the candles at the proper time and not wait until the last moment to light. Even if one has a minute or two, or even 5 minutes left to light, he should refrain from lighting at that time, since it's possible that one's watch or calendar are not exactly precise or in sync, and one stands the possibility of lighting when Shabbat has already occurred and come in, unless one can ensure without a doubt that he has the accurate time for his exact location. A lot of times, people put their watches a few minutes ahead to get on time for reasons like this, so you got to be careful. Sometimes those 10 minutes go into the 18 minutes of Shabbat, and it could be a problem. It is not permitted to light the Shabbat candles after Shkia. So this between Shkia and Set, we light 18 minutes before Shkia in outside of Israel. Then you have Shkia, and then you have a time Ben Hashem Hashot until Tzit, where it's 3 stars at night and it's dark. If one has electric lights on in the house, then one may not even ask a non-Jew to light the Shabbat candles on one's behalf during Ben Hashem Hashot. So if he has other forms of illumination at home, he can ask a non-Jew to light the candles just for the sake of having Shabbat candles lit at home. Even during Ben Hashem Hashot, where it's between Shkia and Tzit, it's not yet night. However, if one does not have any other lights on, then one may ask a non-Jew to light the Shabbat candles without reciting a beracha when the non-Jew is lighting, if Ben Hashem Hashot has not yet passed. If that time of the Ben Hashem Hashot didn't pass, he has a few notes over here. If one sees that his wife will not be able to light on time, then it is proper for him to light the candles instead of her. So let's say she's in a rush, she went to get something, and she's still getting ready, the house, a shower, whatever it is going on, he can light in her stead if she realizes that she's going to lose the time. However, one should only do so after one has given proper warning to one's wife that she should not get carried away and forget to light. And also for Shalom Bayit, just tell your wife, hey, listen, honey, I'm going to go light the candles, or you don't want to get into a mahloket now. What are you doing? You're taking away my mitzvah, and you don't want to get into that. So, obviously to protect her, but of course to be careful. This here, the next note over here from Halacha Birura, volume 15, page 351, adds that if a woman is extremely disturbed by the fact that she forgot to light the Shabbat candles, then she may be lenient and ask a non-Jew to light them for her, even though there are electric lights on in the home. However, even when there are no other electric lights on in the home, the woman may not recite the beracha on the Shabbat candles upon the non-Jew's lighting, and this is specifically during Ben Hashem Hashot. Obviously not when Shabbat already started, then it'd be asur, amira lenochri, you can't tell a non-Jew or Gentile what to do in regards to doing melachot. All right, we'll end it on this. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen.